Emotional blocks and energetic blocks are thoughts of energy that we put in place to help us avoid any kind of future pain. So it's a defense mechanism, but oftentimes this defense mechanism we use to provide ourselves this sense of safety ultimately creates some distancing between our authentic self and our hearts and kind of keeps us in this destructive mindset. So these types of walls are very different from, let's say, a healthy boundary, which I've talked about before. So emotional or energetic walls are often subconscious limits we put on our feelings or experiences in an effort to avoid further hurt or pain. Some of us actually make this conscious decision to even limit our experiences. But this behavior, of course, as you can imagine, limits our joy in an effort to try to keep the bad people out. So have you ever had these thoughts? Maybe this can clue you in. If you've been dating somebody for a while and you'll say, I'll never do that again, or men can't be trusted, or women can't be trusted, or I gave it everything I had and nothing seems to be working. So this mentally is rooted in fear because of the past hurt or the rejection that you've had in the past of something that we never want to experience again. And rightfully so. It can be very painful. But what it does is it actually creates an upper limit on the things that we want in our life and how beautiful we want our life to be. So what we need to do is be able to shift our mindset from avoidance and putting walls up to allowance. So allowance really doesn't mean that everything, we just allow anybody in and get stepped on. It's about building healthier boundaries and learn to love yourself more and find out how you can fully experience life and be able to handle everything that's kind of thrown at you that is not necessarily always something positive or negative. Allowance is about opening your heart and allowing the exchange of love to open and flow freely between people, receiving love and giving love. Some people become excellent givers when they're on a mission to give. And at some point in time, the giving can be so excessive. It actually acts as a defense mechanism. If you give, then you can feel good about the side of the street that you're on and believing that others can't hurt you because you're such a great person and you're beautiful and you always give. Why would anybody want to hurt you? But this is a form of codependency, and it's very codependent tendencies, and where you don't actually get your own needs met. You give, and most often it's givers are block themselves, block their heart, and typically shut down their heart to receive love, to feel love, or even are just afraid of even experiencing it again because they just don't want to get hurt. And a lot of us feel that. So lots of love and compassion for that. We want to be able to get into a place where we open our hearts to what's available to us and work beyond that and look behind that fear. And a lot of narcissists actually shut down or are often will not open up to love because they often think that they weren't enough. And so they'll actually shut down their heart. So we diagnose narcissists as something negative, and it may be for a lot of us. But it is an ego-based insecurity that they have in not opening their heart. So what happens often with people that walk around with part of their heart open is deciding when and how to give and how to receive love. And so again, this limits the fullness of our heart's energy. And so we want to be able to create an exchange, a back and forth that's balanced, that's safe, that is not self-destructive emotionally or self-sabotaging in any kind of way. We can often feel very heavy, sometimes it's controlling, or we want to be disciplined. So for example, I went through a very difficult breakup, and the pain was excruciating. And in the process, I decided to consciously, and I'm sure subconsciously, not to go through that same experience ever again. The loss and the pain was too far a risk to go through. And it took me some time and some work and some allowance and some self-trust to be able to exchange love with somebody else ever again. And the moment that I did that, it brought me into the expansive, amazing relationship that I'm in right now. And I know that it can be very tempting during a breakup to just shut down the part of ourselves that hurts. But emotions, and particularly love specifically, don't work well when we're shut down. That's not the experience of love. Love is about opening up and inhabiting the fullness that we have. It means that there is a form of availability to us, so that we don't limit trust, and we can create authentic connections and relationships. Not that we're always on guard. So if you can imagine, if you're meeting somebody or just getting back into dating, people can sense when someone is guarded or someone is distant, or oftentimes there are people that are what we refer to as unavailable and they're in this constant state of controlling or looking for excuses or distancing themselves. And you can see it in their psyche and their emotional bodies and energetic field. So this fear can be built within us. And again, going back to that example, when I was going through a breakup, I talked to a therapist, and I mentioned the problem is that when the therapist had mentioned that when a person opens up their hearts, it's not always like rainbows and unicorn farts. There's always this pain and this grief that also comes out with it, and can feel very overwhelming. And so it is our work, and part of this journey is dismantling those walls that we built, and requires us to sometimes sit in those pains longer, and to be able to stew in those, as opposed to distract or get into behaviors where we just ignore it, or binge eat, or drink, or go party. Not for a healing journey anyway. And so one of the greatest lessons that I learned about the human experience, or the human condition rather, is that reconstructing our lives is love and pain together. As we move through this journey, you will begin to observe yourself in different perspectives. You will test new waters to see how you can trust yourself, and allowing your heart to slowly re-enter into this dating scene, or loving again. And it doesn't always necessarily apply to relationships. It could be to jobs too, and how we interact with the world. And in hopes that we can define that walls are often built in all aspects of our life, not just in intimate relationships. And so again, it's about dismantling those walls and seeing yourself and embracing healthy boundaries, self-confidence, and having that healthy relationship between love and pain. And that's often where we are the most fragile. So here's a very simple mindfulness exercise, and it's just a 5-minute meditation practice intended to help you observe your inner world with the intention. So the intention of this practice is that you're able to connect with yourself. So simply close your eyes, and you can do that now. Close your eyes and begin to focus on your breath. Follow your breath with your body, allowing your muscles to relax. Allow breathing in effortlessly, right? Allowing the intention on the inhale. And imagine traveling down to your core, into your breath, and just beginning sensing your internal organs or your inner landscape, and just allowing. And ask yourself these questions. How do I feel? Where have I constructed walls that are blocking energy in my body, in my emotional body? And where did I put that? Where do I feel it? And the moment you feel it, it's okay to get out of it and write it down. And keep doing that exercise. And before you come out of the meditation, make sure that you feel safe, that you're not anxious, or you get sad, or feel disempowered. Sit with it and breathe through it until it softens. And so this exercise is very simplistic, but can be very powerful, because getting back to the world, getting back into the dating scene, getting back to opening your heart and trusting on all levels allows you to, and it requires you to trust yourself. It requires a better version of yourself to be born and reborn. And part of that is breaking down the walls and allowing your heart to love to flow in and out. And so I hope that this video was helpful, and we'll see you on the next one.